back to the gambit run by Matt Gaetz in a total of 8 Republicans. Gaetz will win his district in a landslide in 2024 because he got, in return for his unprecedented move to dump McCarthy, what he got is a Christian conservative who opposes the war in Ukraine, supports Israel, and believes the needs of ordinary Americans must be the first and last priorities for those serving in Congress. Mike Johnson from Louisiana, hard-nosed true believer in America, and he promised to do the people's work, get the government spending under control, stop the invasion of the southern border as well. But most people don't seem to know too much about the congressman that grew up in Shreveport before setting his sights on the 4th Congressional District there in Louisiana. But today I think it's important, critically important, to meet the man who now has the gavel and get a sense for who he is, a better sense, and how he might lead the people's house. He began with a sunny day, which after 3 weeks of turmoil and upheaval in the GOP seemed like a reset and a refreshing change for all the rancor that came before. The new Speaker of the House, Mike Johnson, stood in front of the Capitol after getting the unanimous support of Republicans to become the 56th Speaker. Here's part of what he had to say.
We're going to tell them what we're for, what agenda we are pursuing, and why it is best for every American, why it will give them more liberty, opportunity, and security. We're going to speak to that clearly. We're going to act consistently, and we're going to exhibit 2 things here: trust and teamwork. And this group will deliver for the American people. I said it in the chamber, and I will say it here. We're going to govern well, and I think the people are going to be very pleased with those results. We're so grateful. I'm so grateful and so humbled to have gotten a unanimous vote on the floor by all of my colleagues here.
And this is the beginning of our introduction for the 8-year member of Congress that was considered among the darkest of dark horses in the race for Speaker. He wanted to focus on the work at hand. He didn't want to focus on partying, and then Johnson said there was no time for that because the challenges facing this nation are far too great at this moment. Here he is.
We went through a lot to get here, but we are ready to govern, and that will begin right away. You've all heard me talk a lot today, and I'm not going to belabor the point because the sun is bright and it's too warm for the fall. But I'll say this. We're going to dispense with all the usual ceremonies and celebrations that traditionally follow a new speakership because we have no time for either one. The American people's business is too urgent in this moment. The hour is late, the crisis is great. In America, we hear you. And we are reporting again, as I said in there, to our duty stations. That will begin in just a few moments. This entire group is going to go back to the House floor, and we are going to pass our resolution in support of the nation of Israel, our closest ally in the Middle East. You're going to see an aggressive schedule in the days and weeks ahead. You're going to see Congress working as hard as it's ever worked, and we are going to deliver for the American people. I'm grateful for this opportunity. I want to thank you for being patient with us, and I promise you it'll be worth it. Yeah. God bless you. God bless you.
But maybe a better gauge of who Speaker Johnson is to review what he's done in committees on occasion. And I, for one, have liked him in the past. I liked him for quite some time because he gets to people. He asks serious questions. So let's figure out, here he is with an exchange of FBI Director Christopher Wray. I find this quite telling of who he is personality-wise, Mike Johnson. Listen to this.
Can you define what disinformation is?
What I can tell you is that our focus is not on disinformation, broadly speaking.
Well, wait a minute. Yes, it is. Wait a minute.
Can I answer the question?
You can in a minute. Your star witness said in the litigation, Elvis Chan, who's in charge of this, said they do it on the basis of disinformation. We need a definition of what that is.
Our focus is on malign foreign disinformation, that is, foreign hostile actors who engage in covert efforts to abuse our social media platforms, which is something that is not seriously in dispute.
I have to stop you for time. That's not accurate. You need to read this court opinion because you're in charge of enforcing it. The court has found that, and Elvis Chan testified under oath in charge of this for you. He said 50%. He had a 50% success rate in having alleged election disinformation taken down or censored. That wasn't just foreign adversaries, sir. That was American citizens. How do you answer for that?
Well, first off, I'm not sure that's a correct characterization.
Comes right out of the opinion. You should read it.
Of his testimony. But what I would say is the FBI is not in the business of moderating content or causing any social media company to suppress or censor.
That is not what the court has found.
Yeah. You should read it. Look, this guy is better than Kevin McCarthy and significantly better than Tom Emmer, who sent down, a lot of warnings, and then went down in flames. And he might prove to be better than Jim Jordan, too, who after 3 attempts gave up the ghost. And I say that because Johnson is a conservative Christian who believes what America is and what America can be. We have a lot to learn, and of course, the days and weeks ahead will give us a much clearer picture of how he will lead the Republican conference in the House and how he will deal with Democrats on the other side of the aisle. It's important. It'll be instructive. Johnson gave about an 18-minute speech after securing the unanimous support of the House Republicans, winning 2020 to 209 to become the 56th Speaker of the House. And I do think it's instructive to hear several excerpts from those remarks as well, which we're going to do in just a moment. We'll have that after the break, so stick with me for that. Meanwhile, a couple of other headlines. Like I said, we've got this mass shooting in Maine. The suspect, Robert Card, 40. Apparently a guy who's been hearing voices for quite some time and was hospitalized in a mental hospital for 2 weeks over the summer is the suspect. Also in Wayne, Michigan, Ford Motor Company and the United Auto Workers have announced a tentative agreement to end that 41-day walkout. So that's one of the big three. Potentially going back to work, improvements in retiree benefits, 401ks, an 11% wage increase upon ratification. So a lot of improvements. It includes a 25% base wage increase through April of 2028. A lot going on there, so we'll talk about that as well. Quick break. It's the Steve Gruber Show.